Hello, everyone. We are back with the next episode of the Raiders Rambles. I am Jolt, your chief host of the show, and joining me, as always, is none other than my co-host, Avira.
Hey guys, super awesome to be back on the air. I hope everyone had a awesome weekend, and I cannot wait to get into the topics for today. Oh boy, it's gonna be totally bonkers, man.
I know, right? Like, what have we landed on this time? It does my head in.
Well, quite a few things. We have adventures. We got some stuff coming out of left field, and we'll get into all of it.
Of course. All right. Joining us on the show, as always, is none other than my interim host, Noble.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and holy shit, what's that coming at ya?
Well, you get hit in the face, and then it's like, what the? Oh, dude,
Oh, yes.
yeah, yeah. Well, you probably didn't want to have. You probably didn't want to be me yesterday because I had I had so much water splash coming right at my face in front of my car window. It was crazy.
Big ass downpour, I'm guessing.
Yes. And I was on the highway too, and on the other side of the road, cars were just flicking up so much spray. It was hair raising, to say the least.
Ew.
So yeah, fun times. At least I made it. And joining us on the show is Azzy.
What up, what up, what up?
How you
How's
doing, my
everyone doing?
friend?
I'm doing alright, just got done shopping, Spent like $40, but it's worth it.
All right, hey, fantastic, buddy. Great to have you back on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you
You.
for inviting me again.
No worries.
Absolutely.
So, for those of you who are wondering where the heck we were last week, I apologize, but we were all out celebrating some of the most important things, doing our own things, and yes, it was that time of the year. It's Easter. So
I thought you were going to
to
say it's Christmas.
I know that's the other most important thing as well in the time of the year.
Well,
But no, Easter is.
they are both kind of related. I mean, one has to do with birth, one has to do with rebirth. So, yeah, fair enough.
All the
Both of them
screaming
have to
agony
do
and
with Jesus,
painful,
so-
yeah.
Right on. And so, with that said, I do hope your Easter break was full of, yeah, just fun, everything in between.
It was, yes, because when I got home to go see my family, we had a nice dinner. Um, got to see people that I haven't seen in a long time. And, I wasn't able to go to church, unfortunately, that morning because I was on my way home from somewhere further away.
Hmm.
But we still celebrated the holiday, and it was pretty darn awesome. So, what did you guys do? Like, if you celebrated?
I mean, usually for me, I'd end up going to church, celebrating with my own
Hmm.
church community Easter,
Okay.
and a lot of it involves feasting as well over there. And that's great.
Oh,
That's
right
just a
on.
win on its own. But but yeah, most of the time it's just like whatever the case was. It's I do want to preface that now more than ever it is just more all the more important to be to celebrate Easter in these times before they
Oh,
try and
absolutely.
remove all significance of it.
Well, it's not just about the whole Easter bunny and the chocolates and the eggs,
Oh, no,
colorful
no.
stuff. It's literally like we have to get back to the roots about, literally our Lord and Savior coming back from the dead. Like that is
Mhm.
very important that people tend to forget, but that's why
Yep.
it's a very important holiday.
Indeed.
Amen, brother.
Amen. So, that aside, I cannot wait to dig into what I did for during the Easter period. And I know I've shared this around here and there, but let me share this around with you as well. Adventure.
As we all know, Jolt is quite the explorer, and he always goes on all kinds of crazy adventures all over the place. And
No.
this is no different. My goodness, it looks like you had a freaking blast, dude.
I know, like I haven't done this since the last time I put my suit on for 3 months.
Uh huh.
Oh my goodness.
Any
I
mothballs or dust bunnies?
No, actually, actually surprisingly, there's just a lot of bushland and a bit of like swamp and tall grass, and a lot of people waving at us from their boats.
Oh, very cool. Okay. So, like, what did you do? Like, where'd you go?
Oh, we went down to a secluded part of the bay, and my neck of the woods, big body of water, down a hill actually, where we walked through some tall grass, some pretty steep hills, because it was a little hiking trail that's just carved down a hill, and into basically what would have been an abandoned, you know, industrial place slash boatyard, if you could call it that.
Hmm.
Behold.
Okay. Oh, look at this. That's so cool. For those of you guys who are just listening right now, we have a fantastic picture of Jolt just in the woods. He's just coming out of the freaking woodwork. Oh, damn, you look
And there you
cool.
go, and there you go, and it was like it's framed so well. It's like spoiler alert that you can see the window through there.
Mm-hmm.
It's
For a split second, it kind of reminds me of the World of Wild Things are.
mhm.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess so.
Yeah. But only a purple squirrel instead.
Exactly, and it's like, ew. Yeah. But yeah, essentially, like I was saying earlier, like there was, people just out there waving at us from their boats, and then on the other side of the bay, it's just like it's such a mood because you got all these abandoned,
Mhm.
houses and stuff. It's crazy. It's like
Oh,
yeah,
beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
and it's ex-industrial.
And it's not every day that someone sees 5 foot something tall squirrel.
Exactly.
Taking
Like,
a romp around.
what the heck is he doing out here? And like, did he just come out of the water?
Yeah. And then
I'm curious, are there any fursuiters you've seen where their fursuits sort of are like a wetsuit?
Not that I know of. No.
Just kind of thinking what it would be like if someone dressed up as a shark and went to a beach.
Oh yeah, like very, very, very like it would scare the ever living thing out of everyone. If you have a proper wetsuit and everything, fin.
No, you're more likely to see Jolt just climbing up on rocks or up in the trees and stuff like that.
I don't know 100% though. Like the very idea of a shark suit is, well, actually, you know what? For something like this, you need a water predator, and then bam, everyone will be like, nah, I'm out of here. I'm going to get back on my boat.
Dress up as a
Yeah.
lemon shark and you get people, people really talking.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
I'm surprised.
Or
I'm
like whatever
surprised.
else, like a little river fish, a moray eel, piranha.
Piranha.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks
I'm
so
surprised.
fun, man. Oh my goodness.
At least the weather was behaving then.
Yeah, it was a bit on the toastier side. The walk was a bit high effort, but all the same, it's yeah. There you go. Such a mood, like you. Like on my side, there was just nothing but like only like a little couple of dilapidated buildings. On that side, it's all like fenced out.
Wow. I always love the shots of like you in suit just like looking out onto the water. That's like really serene, you know?
It's almost like it's a painting or something. Like it's
Yeah, it
yeah.
could be.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, that's so
I'm
cool, dude.
I'm surprised that people who did saw you in that suit didn't think.
Oh
I
no, they were
I
actually
assume that they
pretty.
did. I assume that they didn't think that like that you are like some kind of like
Oh,
cryptid called the squirrel squatch or whatever it is.
squirrels.
So,
Oh my god.
Azzy, it takes a certain special person to be basically batshit fucking crazy. It's the only way I can put it.
Yeah.
Majority of people out there aren't. It's just most of them, gather online, and it's just a cesspool of why is
Oh,
this even here
oh,
or
it's not
exist?
that though. If you are out there in the woods in the United States, you've got people who are searching for the Sasquatch.
Or the skunk ape.
Yeah.
Or the wolf man. The Michigan dog man. Like,
Mhm. In fact, the only thing I did get called once was a dragon. So there you go. Yeah, just on this occasion.
Or let's say your wealthy friend invites you on a boat for like a birthday party or something. You're going down the river and then you see someone like jolt across the way, and you're just like, "Whoa, okay, I didn't expect to see that. Like I was looking for eagles or elk or whatever." Like that's a whole different experience, man. That's freaking awesome. I mean, can you imagine that?
Yeah. True,
That's
true.
so cool.
yeah, it's cool. It would be cool to see a fursuiter in like a middle of nowhere, like not gonna lie.
Well,
Like
yeah,
in a
yeah. That's
woodlands.
what these people experienced because either they never saw one before or they're just like they wouldn't expect it. You know, they're just going down the river or like across the lake, and they're like, what is that?" That's so awesome. And this is one of my favorite photos from your trip with the two trees coming out of the water. Like that looks really surreal, man.
Damn.
Isn't that cool?
You know, the last time I saw a tree submerged in the water like that in the body of, right
Mhm.
there was in New Zealand and around the lake. And in fact, it's become such a tourist hotspot that they literally, named it just a hashtag that Wanaka tree over
Yeah,
there.
wow.
It's so crazy just to see a tree down there, and it's like, no. And instead of that one tree in New Zealand, we get two of them here.
Hmm.
Wow.
So double the win.
No, that's something we don't see every day.
I know. It.
That's why Jolt gets to go on all these special adventures. You know, he just finds stuff that is totally outside the box. So
And taking several risks to become a drowned rat.
yes, yeah, okay, that is true. I always thought about this. Like whenever you go under like waterfalls or like near the water, like you got to be careful about slipping down and stuff like that, man.
What exactly is that fursuit made of? The fur, is it like it's not cotton, is it?
No, it's luxury shag. It's all synthetic. Yeah, all the fursuits that use that stuff are all synthetic fur.
Nice,
I've
nice.
heard
It's easy to clean, easy to do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
And despite it all, it's still in good nick.
I've heard that there was a couple suitors that actually used like real fur for fursuits, and it's like how?
Well,
Like,
it's not
real,
that
actual
difficult.
animal fursuits.
It's honestly not that difficult. I mean, leather work and leather is a thing, and not everyone's always going to remove the fur. I do know that fishermen use, I believe it was deer fur for some of the, little hook things. But it's not difficult. It's just you'd be basically wearing leather all day. Do you want to be doing that?
Yeah.
It depends on like what your character is, because I've seen stuff like this too. Because I've been to places like Anthrocon where there were booths that they were selling like fursuit tails, but they were actually like real tails, like from wolves or from foxes or
Yeah, like,
from
killed
whatever.
and taxidermy.
I've seen that before, but I wouldn't say necessarily that an entire fursuit nowadays is not made from actual animal skin. I mean, maybe if you're like a Native American back like 500 years ago, maybe, but nowadays it's all like blue and green and purple fur and like stuff that's not necessarily natural. But yes, they do still sell natural fur things, like tails or maybe like hats or paws or whatever. Some people have a problem with that, others don't. It's debatable, but I've seen that happen at cons before, especially with the tails.
Yeah, it's eerie.
And I don't
but
know if they get like more wet than natural, because it seems like they would actually they would probably fare a bit better because they're like naturally inclined to the environment, and they would actually not get infected or whatever it might be. With artificial furs, like if you get it wet, you really have to be careful and like clean it up and maintain it properly. Natural fur, I think, kind of just does it on its own, but I'm not an expert, so I can't really say.
Personally, I find it in a bit of a bad taste, but then again, meh.
I mean,
Yeah.
I prefer my artificial colors, to be sure.
Yeah, otherwise you get none of the impossibility of being a fancy little thinger.
Yeah.
Yeah, still. But
Yeah,
last of
like-
all, though, because just to wrap this whole thing up, as it turns out, this place was like an old abandoned dock area, and as we figured, finally get to be, well, doot, doot, doot.
Mario! So, there's Jolt going into the pipes.
Only this
Where's-
one's like
where-
more rusted and not green at all.
Where's
Well,
this Mario
I'm
hat?
sure you could find some mushrooms in there if you really tried.
Where's his
Yeah.
Mario hat?
Now that's the one piece I was actually missing. Nah, didn't even get the whole plumber look right, or the
Yeah, you
little
just got-
Luigi hat.
Just paint the whatever it is, like green or some shit. Then
There you go.
it would look.
Now you've got the right idea.
I just love how pristine and like clean your purple fur looks in comparison to that rusty pipe.
Yeah, and you know what? And you know what's funny was when I was sitting on the pipe, I was like, I shed so much. I was like, fuck. Oh well, that's the thing I left behind.
Yeah,
There
right.
you go. Someone's gonna find a little trace of purple fur on a rusted pipe now.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, there you go. At least on the plus side, at least there's a way out. At least I can just climb on, pull the chain. I found my way out. Wherever. If I ever end up in another world from going into that pipe, at least.
Yeah, you just gotta punch Bowser in the face and rescue the princess. You're fine.
So, right.
Whatever.
There we go. At least now that's the plotline for the next Mario movie. It's like,
So, yeah, just add a purple squirrel in it, and it'll be better.
Yeah, it would be really funny if a squirrel came running out of that, but unfortunately, this is Australia.
no, we need small. Don't have enough small
Oh,
animals
man.
for that sort of thing. Still.
I gotta say, buddy, it looks like you had a fantastic adventure.
Oh yeah.
Just looking out on the water. I mean, that is some beautiful shots you got. So God bless. That's awesome.
I know. I think
especially
the whole
with the
ex-industrial
trees
prop
coming out
just
of the
made
water.
sense.
That's like,
Yeah, like frig, it was just it was just a big, a bit of a difficult up and down, but
Mhm.
worth it.
Right on.
Oh
right
well,
on.
so let's go to what we've got for the week. Let's get started. So first off, we have this. Microsoft cautions developers to avoid curvy female characters.
So
Microsoft
Microsoft urges developers to not create female characters with exaggerated body proportions, quote unquote, on their official site to support game days. This site, titled Product Inclusion Action, help customers feel seen, includes a bullet list of consolidations, or is that what that is?
considerations.
Consideration, whatever, that they urge developers to make when they're working on their product. So one Twitter user pointed out the language expressively condoning, or sorry, condemning. Oh boy, condemning certain female characters as reinforcing negative gender stereotypes. So, what does that mean? Negative gender stereotypes. Well, let's see what they say on their bullet list. Someone wants to talk about that. Let's see what they say. Are you reinforcing any negative gender stereotypes? Question mark? Are you? Well, I don't know.
Oh no.
Won't somebody please think of the lesbian gamers? Seriously, what the hell?
They got a few bullet points here. Does anyone want to read that out, or should I?
I'm going to let you.
All right. Are you unnecessarily introducing gender and gender barriers into your code or design? Next bullet point. Are you creating playable female characters that are equal in skill and ability to their male peers? And your female characters equipped with clothing and armor that fits their tasks?
Oh my.
Do they have exaggerated body proportions? Maybe.
Mhm.
And the last one here. When the story allows, do you show male characters who display a full range of emotions, including joy, sadness, and vulnerability? Oh boy. There's a lot to unpack here, for sure. Basically, oh boy. I'm going to let you guys have your opinions about this. 'Cause I got a few, but let's see.
Well. 100%. There is a lot to unpack here to begin with, because at the end of this, like, what it really stems from is just you see, you've been looking at all this stuff that's been in the in movies and stuff, and of recent times, and a lot of what you see with like male lead character, well, female lead characters, I should say, is that they seem to be like these super kick-ass super women.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a lot of people that seem to find
Which is fine, because
Right.
I like characters like Lara Croft. She's cool.
Yeah, like
Whatever.
realistic, even realistic thingos. Yeah, Lara Croft, 100%. Yes.
But are you creating a playable female characters that are equal in skill? No, it doesn't. This is the thing. Games are supposed to be a fantasy and escape from the world, and they're trying to use their political agenda to make everything equal, and that's just not the case, man.
Yeah, it's
Look, I'm all for gamers turning. I'm all for game companies turning around and allowing people to pick how the character looks when they play. Pokemon
Yeah.
has been really good with that. Although the last game they released was just made me die inside because it's like, what alien life form am I looking at?
Right. We'll get
Um,
to that in just a bit. In that, on the same topic, like what the heck did Pokemon do? Because it's in this article as well.
This weird one was weird to me though. It says when the story allows, like, do you show male characters who display like sadness and vulnerability and all that? It's like they're trying to make the male characters look weak. Yes, as a man, of course we have emotions. Obviously,
They just
we
they're
care.
just
Right?
they are just expressed outwardly in
Yeah,
their own
but you can
unique
still be
ways.
strong at the same time. Like you can still be a badass and also cry for your dead friend. You
Yeah.
can do the same thing. Hmm.
Yeah, I know it's nuanced how it is all expressed, and that's what they miss.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
But yes, the biggest thing that's been really breaking all these people's minds, of course, is none other than the most hyped game, Stellar Blade.
Hmm.
Which, need I remind you, the model for Stellar Blade was based indeed on a real South Korean woman.
Ah, okay.
are they seriously going after that again?
Seems
Yes.
like it.
Yeah, look at that. You can see that they basically use her body for the scans, and that's how they got the likeness in the game. I mean, just look at those proportions. That is 100% realistic for a South Korean woman. Through
It
and through.
actually is, yeah. I mean,
I know.
not
I
for
speak
an
for.
American woman because most Americans are obese and they're unhealthy.
I mean,
But
speaking for, like I said earlier, I did say I did go to South Korea
mhm.
last year, and 100%. Look at the women; they're just all so. Yeah, you look at the proportions and the body shapes.
Yeah. And people want to play video games that exert this type of portrayal. For sure they do. Right? Like, why would you want to play a game and, like, I want to be some, 350-pound, body positive, purple haired, whatever the crap. Like, no.
Yeah, well, they found out that there is a game that just such a game that came out that you can play as like an as a big girl with so many piercings and all that. And needless to say, yeah,
That's not going
needless
to
to
make
say,
money,
everybody
though.
just dunked on it.
That's the crazy thing. They're trying so hard to be woke that they just destroy themselves.
Yeah, go
I
woke,
mean,
go broke.
hell, I'm a dude, and I would like to play a strong male character. Hell, like somebody that looks like a GI Joe or whatever. Like, yeah, I want all the muscles. I want all the
Hell
things.
yeah.
It's not like an unrealistic stereotype because it's a freaking game. At the end of the day, it's fantasy. So who cares,
Exactly.
right? Like, whatever. Has nothing to do with me. It's not about representation or some nonsense.
And yet, if you go back to the whole thing of the design as well, the point that does strike out with this is exaggerated body proportions. I
Okay.
mean, like you said earlier, if you're right, like can we can flip the script and say, is a 300-pound woman an exaggerated body proportion?
As long as she's not running a marathon.
Yeah. Or if she's an actually like a real woman and not some dude pretending to be a woman just to, like, get ahead in sports. So
Right.
other than that, I think that's people are not going to want to buy video games or have a character like that. I mean, maybe some will, but they're probably not going to go very far.
Yeah, but there's more than that too. Like there's a whole. Oh, but it gets worse than that. That there's a whole series of guidelines that Microsoft has presented to developers with a set of questions to consider when it comes to their projects in order they were quote unquote inclusive.
Right.
Let's go through them
It's
quickly.
it's
Go
going
on,
to be
Neville.
interesting to see what happens with Microsoft over the next couple of years because of this Windows 10 and a few other things that they've been
Yeah.
like doing.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's, I mean, to say nothing about the games division doing this, then
Well, we have to end this. It says Microsoft then presents developers with a set of 10 questions to consider, quote unquote, when it comes to their projects in order to ensure that they were properly inclusive. So here we go.
I'll quickly read these for you.
There we
Okay.
go.
Are you telling new stories or sharing new perspectives within the product experience?
Hmm.
Well, that's probably like one for the writing team. Do all of your characters / player depictions look the same? What steps have you taken to ensure characters are represented respectfully and authentically? How have you validated assumptions you've made out about your audience to check for blind spots or unintended stereotypes? Next one. Would you feel proud to show a member of a community how their culture / character is depicted within your experience?
That's where it gets a tad bonkers, man.
Yeah.
That's where it does. Because people use video games as an escape from the world, you know? We're not looking for representation or whatnot. And I guarantee you most gamers don't care about this woke nonsense. They don't.
Yeah.
They care more about
Yes.
getting the coolest looking character, maybe someone that they find sexually attractive. You know, if it's a straight guy and he's like, oh, I want a character that looks like this, you know, whatever. Or he just what? It's not about representation. It should never be. This is a fantasy world, right? It should always be like that.
All right, next point.
But
how are the
we
wide
go.
range of customers depicted within your products, content portfolio, and communications? Dude, it's called marketing, market research, surveys, and looking into demographics.
Yeah, it just gets worse from here.
Yep. Next
Yeah,
point.
it's
What process have you
dumb.
used to validate how different groups of people or cultures are represented in your experience? Next point. What percentage of screen time, on-screen presence, speaking lines, heroes is held by different gender / racial identities?
Stop.
Yeah.
So stop.
So this is
God.
everything that you shouldn't be giving two shits about referring to game development. And I really hate to think how much the cost of video game development is going to blow up when they have to hire places like Sweet Baby Inc.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
We had a similar problem when they said that you know, having the race of orcs was somehow related to a particular type of ethnic minority.
If
How
I want
in
to
the-
play a video game on
What?
some Japanese dude walking around beating the living shit out of people, I don't want him to be gay. I'm sorry, I don't want him to be gay.
Well, you have to be all inclusive, right? So he probably will be.
No,
Like,
but
dude,
you're right.
how are orcs representative of a human race? That does not make zero fucking sense. It doesn't.
The best part is that when you associate that, the person stating it is thinking that. They
Yeah,
think
they're
that
the
orcs are black
racist.
people.
Literally, like, that's crazy. I never thought about that in my entire freaking life. I'm just like, okay, you're like a fantasy species. Okay, cool. Like, you're not even a human. Then they're like, well, actually, they represent such and such. I'm just like, oh my god, how did we get here? This is what they're trying to do to games. Like, they're just trying to destroy it. Look at Hasbro. Good lord.
Yeah, and also to use another similar example, we're going to segue to the same next item with Pokemon
Yep.
as at that. So let me share with you the article that's there. I'm sure you'll like this one. The Pokemon Company is now putting a job listing for a director of diversity, equity, inclusion, and social responsibility.
Oh God.
Yeah. So, what's the pay rate for this position?
I think it's in the 6 digits.
Well,
Okay. Look, let me highlight this for you. The position is paying between $178,000 and $211,850 for new hires with an upward ceiling of $267,000.
see, the thing is, I'm on the fence about buying the next game that's going to be released for the Pokemon franchise, only because it's going back to the X and Y, and that's where I got back into it. It would hopefully finish off some of the unanswered questions of that game. But when it comes to moving forward, it sounds like to me, I thought Pokemon. What's the current one that they got out now?
Oh no, Scarlet and Violet,
Yeah.
and they're making
Scarlet and Violet's just god awful the way it looks. That's the only way I can put it.
Mhm.
And moving forward with playing like the mainstream games, I'm just thinking no. I mean, I might buy a pack of cards now, like every couple of years, if I see a interesting one in a vending machine or something. But I'm honestly almost over the franchise at this point. It's dived off the deep end. You've got main characters now that look like aliens. And if they're going to include this sort of nonsensical dribble, no. No. Go for it and just see where it gets you.
Mhm.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And it's so crazy too, like you said of the whole women thing though, people are now looking at what have the changes to the characters in Pokemon Go, to use an example. Like look at what they've done with the whole facial designs.
Yeah. What exactly are you trying to make? See, I did see somebody recently walking down the street, and it looked like she had the most deadest smile on her face.
Mhm.
Like she was possessed or something. And I'm just, oh, she wakes up one day, it's basically going to destroy her
Yeah,
life.
and the next thing is they also changed up the waistlines. Look at this. No, she's hunched over. Like look at the whole broad shoulders and stuff, and look at the waistline.
Oh great. Oh great.
Yeah,
So
there's
they
only-
basically made her a tranny.
I don't understand why they would even do this. Because, like, if you're a multi-billion-dollar company, don't they know that sex sells? Sure, it's not realistic for like regular humans, but whatever. Like, it's not supposed to be a realistic type of thing. It's just not.
Yeah.
That's why when Barbie, like the whole Barbie doll company, when they made like the realistic proportion dolls, they didn't sell well because girls didn't like that. It just made sense, like just from a business perspective. Has nothing to do with like stereotypes or oh you're offensive to women. Nah, it was just about like selling merchandise at that point. I mean, come on.
Mhm. And at the end of the day, but this is this is also like your player character, your finger in the game.
Mhm.
And like for a lot of people, they want their thingos to it's to be fantasize to look like it's aspirational and to look actually beautiful.
Yeah, well, we have beauty standards for a reason. It's primarily due to health. If I saw some like 300-pound woman, I don't think she's healthy, and that's just not objectively attractive.
The other thing
It's
is
not.
that it goes to the other end of the scale as well, Avira. You get women who end up just being completely unhealthy and like a Barbie doll. It's just not.
Right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's not realistic either. Of course not. No, like that's
No.
not. It's not. But
Yeah, this is another thing I want to highlight too, like with the whole thing. Scarlet and Violet were accused of this sort of stuff by removing skirt options for female players' avatars, and Sword and Shield removed gendered player character options completely. And they introduced a number of suspect NPC characters, such as woman who looks very similar to a man. Yeah.
I don't get why they're doing this.
I just wonder, who are they targeting? Like, who exactly are they targeting with these kinds of weird, crazy woke ads? It's more like they're trying to adhere to a cult and not actually care about the target audience, unless their target audience is children. But children who are confused.
Mm-hmm.
You can be an adult and confused.
True.
Yeah, it's happening. That's still happening to this very day. But really, at the end of this all is, how's this going to play out for Pokemon?
Well, here's the thing. Because of how indented the franchise is, they will be making money. However, if they start pushing away all people my age, for instance, that really like the first couple of seasons of Pokemon, then you're kind of, you're going to have to rely on just solely the new generation sort of moving forward. But that actually raises a good question. What's going to happen with the old cartoons, anime, movies, and games? Because in the second one, Gold and Silver, the main character gets punched in the face by the protagonist, the bad guy, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to cut that from re-release of the game? If they do Gold and Silver again?
They already did that again. I don't know if they're going to make another generational remake.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because then people will be all like, "Oh, it embraces violence," and it's like, come on.
It's Pokemon. When isn't it violent?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, but more to the point, now Pokemon's gotten themselves into a huge slew of problems. I mean, of course, the games are going downhill. The games have gone stagnant. They're doing this sort of stuff now, and now finally the competition is re-emerging in the market.
Power World,
Yeah.
where literally slavery is part of it, which is fun the way it's done.
Yeah,
And then horrifying.
As you already know, Power Worlds is still, getting updates to this very day. In fact, a new one just came out.
Well, we've seen those times where PETA has attacked Pokemon several times. That animal abuse, comparing it to cockfights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the developers of Power World seem to use that as a diving off point to make the game more interesting.
Exactly, yeah.
It is a very good selling
They know what's up, for sure.
Yeah, it is a very good selling point, to where it is for voting. And the only thing that Peter could muster about Power World is, how would we make a vegan only, a meat-free playthrough?
Bro.
Didn't they also get like a problem like when they were like fishing or whatever?
Well, in the early pre-release thingos, you could actually fish using
Yeah. Didn't PETA have a problem with that?
What don't they have a problem with?
They were like, "You're still eating meat. How dare you?" That was like when it first came out. Oh goodness.
Right, if you actually played Power World, you'll notice that most of the food options available are not
Oh,
necessarily
I'm sorry.
based,
I was thinking of Animal Farm.
I know,
I was
but
thinking of something else.
Geek ads. Ugh.
But yeah, Pal World. That's a whole different thing. It's not Pokemon per se, but it's a little bit more. I guess a little bit more realistic per se.
Mhm.
It's interesting. But again, at the end of the day, it's a game. No, you're not actually abusing animals. You're not doing anything crazy.
No.
But some of these messages that you see from these radical activist groups,
Yeah.
it
It's like,
kind of reminds
people
me of
just-
like what they did with Harry Potter, when you had like these crazy conservative Mormons or whatever. You're practicing witchcraft by reading these books and watching these movies. Harry Potter is a
Oh my
witch and
God.
warlock and all that stupid shit. It kind of reminds me of that, only nowadays. Am I wrong?
Nah, you're definitely not wrong, man.
It seems very similar.
Yeah, but now it's the woke instead of the Christians.
Right. Yeah. It came full circle.
Oh yeah, it's like flip flop. Like,
My goodness.
All right.
They've all-
So, got one other little item here to go through. Bit on the older side, but it's one of those things. How did we miss? Had we have found this in time, it would have been absolutely hilarious to just point and laugh at it. But it still is to this day. Don't get me wrong.
The downside is I know somebody who would be well, let's just say banned
What?
permanently.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh players will now be punished if they smell bad under hygiene rules.
Now, here's the thing. If you've got a non-air conditioned room in the middle of summer and it's like ass hot, that's understandable. But if you've got a decently air conditioned room, people have time to get themselves set in. Yeah. But this is basically gamers and anime people like 80% of the time they're just like morbidly obese and just don't shower.
yeah,
This
And-
has to do with mass events, like a tournament opening and stuff like that, conventions or whatever. I've seen this happen before.
Please scroll down.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so we've seen stuff like this. Let's see what the article goes on about. So what is Yu-Gi-Oh? Does anyone want to jump on that?
Oh,
Yu-Gi-Oh is known for its popular animated TV series, which
Mhm.
features the characters competing in card game with
Strategic monster duels,
Like that,
right?
duels.
Only thing is, it should be noted that he's done the cart before the horse thing, and the card game Yu-Gi-Oh was there first before it became a an anime.
Yeah, see, Yu-Gi-Oh! The series initially was King of Games, not King of Cards, so bleh. The strategy game also has an active competitive scene and live tournament taking place about once per month, with the most recent one taking place in Dustford as part of the Championship Series event, and I know I
Right.
definitely blundered that one.
That's all right. And I mean, there's like it's what you need to know is it's just really popular all over the world. Outside Japan and all that. But really, to get to the whole meat and thing of this,
In the last tournament policy update, Konami, which has released on April 3rd, one of the rules caught fans of the game off guard with just how bizarre it was. And at this point, I wish they released it at the 1st of April. Tournament policy latest update features many rule changes, such as credential requirements and unacceptable behavior updates. However, it was the newest subsection, hygiene, which had players surprised. Can you scroll up a bit?
Down, yeah. Here we go.
The paragraph subsection 1, hygiene, requires all attendees of attending the event to be clean and wearing clean clothing. And the goes on state that penalties can be enforced if not properly adhered to. If you or your clothing is extremely dirty, bad smelling, you can be penalized.
I see.
Some of the disgusting grots that must be rocking up to these events. Damn.
You know, we laugh about this, but this is actually a pretty serious issue. Because I remember I'm not going to name the name, but there's a local game store by me that does these tournaments. They do Magic the Gathering, they do Pokemon, they do Yu-Gi-Oh! So every month or so, they have these events going on, right? So people will come in, they'll either bring their decks or they'll open packs, and then they'll, have their tournament, their event. But when you walk into the building, and if it smells like you want to puke when you open the door, it's not good for business. So
hell no.
You gotta be fucking clean before you do this. And unfortunately, a lot of these people, I mean, I'm not trying to be like stereotypical or anything, but unfortunately, they don't necessarily shower as often as they should. And this is why, even in the furry fandom, this is why it's one of the rules. The host 6-1. At least shower once a day when you're there.
So
and it has to be told to people to do this.
So the thing with myself is that I've known to wear clothing up to 4 days in a row. However, I do change my underwear and socks daily. If I'm more active and out, I may wear the same shirt and pants for 2 days in a row.
Okay.
But even then, if it smells something or I got wet, I'll replace it, either on that day or the following day. And I do shower once a day in the mornings. So when I leave, but if you get like a hot day or if I've had to do a lot of work where I'm physically active, I do end up smelling pretty badly because of, sweat. Now, it's understandable to a point. If someone's got a medical condition and they just literally reek, and it's not, the amount of time, that's one thing. But when you've got some dirty little bastard who can't be bothered turning around and having a shower, washing their hands with soap properly, or other things you should generally be doing, rules like this have to be brought in. Now, yes, it is ridiculous. Yes, it is stupid. But unfortunately, people are both extremely irresponsible and you just wonder why they haven't died yet from eating something they shouldn't have or doing something they shouldn't have. I mean, there's that one guy I heard about with a belt sander and a chair, but that took work.
Even certain foods, like if you eat a lot of stuff like garlic, or if you drink certain things, like it'll come through your pores, and like onions or stuff like that, like it'll literally come through your sweat and it's kind of gross. But showering every day, at least like from the medical standpoint, it's not healthy for you. You should shower once every other day or once every 2 days, because your natural oils are supposed to help you get rid of bacteria. That's just what I've read. But some of these people, they go for like a month, and then they show up at these events and they smell like literal shit.
Avera.
And yeah, that puts people off. It's not healthy. It's disgusting.
I used to know somebody who wouldn't shower until they went to their parents' place, and that was maybe once every 6 months.
Holy shit! Okay, that's not like, how do they not get skin infections?
Yeah,
that's weird.
Nasty, yo.
No, that's dangerous. That's holy shit.
And that's not the worst part.
Oh, geez,
So,
what
yes.
was?
I'm not going to shout online.
All right, good. Yeah, probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
So this is something that I guess this area is trying to promote to people. Yeah, if you're going to go to a public event, it doesn't take too long. Maybe I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes. Just take a fucking shower. It's
You
not
know-
difficult to do.
Well,
Why can't they do it? I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's not caring.
You know,
Well, they
it's
care enough to drive out and go play their game, so why can't they take fucking 5 minutes to clean themselves?
yeah, just like if you want to go to something special, you don't want to smell like shit and then go to
No.
a
Nasty.
fucking tournament. Like,
Yeah,
Some
what the
people
common
see the
sense.
problem is some people don't care. So, for instance, the way I dress, I don't dress to look fashionable. I dress for utilitarian reasons.
Yeah, practical. Yeah, of
And
course.
people take issue with that. It's like, why don't you care better about yourself? And I'm like, well, yeah, I actually do.
Yeah, but that's a totally different thing. It's not like you're not taking care of yourself, because if I was going to go to a tournament, of course you shower beforehand. Like, no shit. You got to make yourself presentable, right?
Brush your
Duh.
teeth, get enough sleep,
Yeah, of course. Eat well in the morning, whatever.
dress up as your favorite character.
It depends on how dedicated you are, but yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
and don't wear a dirty, sweaty shirt from
No,
yesterday
ew,
or
gross.
whatever.
No,
Like,
do some
that's-
fucking
that's
laundry,
nasty.
right? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I do it like everyone
Yeah.
else should do it.
I mean, would you walk in with your cards covered in, whatever filth?
It's not difficult to do. Like, the fact
Yeah.
that they have to tell these people to do that, like, as an official policy, is just freaking weird to me.
Especially when some of these people are like old enough to take a shower and do some laundry. It's like,
Yeah, they're adults.
come on.
They're our age.
The worst thing I can think of right now is I once saw someone picking at a wound on their hand with a rusty pair of scissors.
Oh, tetanus is fun. That's good.
And I was the one who got into trouble because I said, don't do that!
Wow.
But no, I'm the bad person in this situation because I told someone not to do something that they felt was within their rights. It's like, oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, well, I'm sure about 2 weeks later, they probably felt like they probably should have listened to your advice when they were in the hospital, realizing that their white cell count was super low.
They weren't actually in the hospital.
Yeah, they could be.
Hmm.
They're doing stuff like that. No, that's not good.
But no, look, the problem is this situation falls down to many others where rules are brought in. It's because people just don't don't do things as they should. Don't
And I would
think
say
about others.
most people do take care of themselves. Like, again, if you or I were to go to one of these events, of course we're going to be all just normal, right? We're just going to be doing our normal routine. But you get some of those crazy people that just don't give a fuck about themselves, and then they
Sorry.
ruin it for everyone.
I'm thinking of that fursuiter who, well, yeah,
I know what you're thinking of.
things with plushies, and
I know what you're thinking of.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Don't mention
I
it.
know what you're-
I know exactly what you mean.
Ah,
Carpet.
ah,
Yeah,
Oh.
I didn't want to say it.
God.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
when it comes to BO, people have to at least understand that you can't always be smelling sweet, but
Oh,
Nah, just take care of yourself. If you're gonna go out in a public place or whatever, okay, take a shower. Clean up your costume. It's not difficult to do, but some
See-
people just don't care.
I'm one of those people where when I go to the dentist, I will take one of those little camping toothbrushes, toothpaste sort of things,
Mhm.
and I will brush my teeth before going in.
Oh, we all do that. We all do. Come on. Hell, I brush my teeth every day, but hell, I had a dentist appointment the other day, and I still brush my teeth beforehand. Of course we all do that. Come on.
I have had comments from the dentists that I've seen Most of them are students anyway, and they're
Mhm.
like, "Oh, your mouth is clean."
Yeah, yeah.
Almost as if it's shocking.
But I think everybody does that. Like right before you go to the dentist, you're like, I might as well brush my teeth, do some mouthwash, whatever. Just come on.
Yeah.
That's just a thing.
Ow. But you know what, though, to get back to what I was wanting to say, though, no, let's
Mhm.
get back into the whole situation where you're at this tournament, and imagine now that the rules in place, imagine how this all just plays out.
Well, it depends on how stanky the environment was. Like if I was in the middle of a game with someone and I just couldn't breathe, I might just forfeit to get the hell out of there.
I don't blame you.
Like, you know what?
Now-
I can't breathe right now. You win. Let me just breathe some air.
And Vera,
Yes.
you're only encouraging the behavior at that point.
How so? Wouldn't they
They
feel
They
shame?
just want to keep showing up if they, if they're gonna win by being smelly.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
if
gross.
if that's
So
an advantage for someone to win, they're going to use it, and they're going to be proud of it.
Yeah.
If that's the case, bring some Febreze and just, be like,
This is one of those stereotypes that people use, like
That's
whenever they're
right.
making memes about like the whole nerd culture. We're not all like this. There's only a few people out there, but they're the ones that get the most attention. Same thing with furries. I mean, fuck, I shower every day at conventions. I keep my fursuit clean. So do all my friends. But sometimes you go to a room party, and there's this one fucker who just,
Clears the room.
you know what it's like. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, I know what that's like. It's freaking nasty.
And really, to top it all off, though, nerds have a very big stereotype for neglecting their own self-care.
Yeah, well, bronies too. Maybe I'm being too generous. Maybe not too many of them actually care about hygiene. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a stereotype that that's got to be. Otherwise, yeah.
Just take care of yourself. It's not that freaking hard.
hmm
yeah, like take a shower.
At-
Takes like
Yeah,
takes
hell
like
yeah,
5
right?
minutes.
At least spend some time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, put some deodorant on. It takes like 2 seconds.
Yeah, at the very least, right?
Brush your teeth. Brush your teeth.
I've had my fursuit for over 8 years, and the fur is still white because I wash it. I take care of it. It's stuff like that. And then sometimes I go to cons and I meet people. They've had their fursuit for like 2 years, and I'm like, oh my god, you smell like dog shit. Like, it's
Yeah,
happened.
straight up.
God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's just
like
kind of
almost
crazy
like
that Yu-Gi-Oh is doing this like to their own people, because I guess like the problem is a little bit
Too
more so
egregious,
than we
yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
almost
and-
like some of these people smell like fucking sewer plants. Oh my god.
Oh my god. I just had dinner an hour ago. Oh, stop.
No.
Damn.
Oh, just remember the 6-2-1 rule, right?
Mhm.
6 hours of sleep, 2 meals a day, 1 shower a day.
Yep.
Just do that and you should be all right.
It's usually what I do. I mean, it's what everybody should do.
Yeah.
All right. So, I believe this is all the time we've got for show today. Well, it's been quite a show of stuff to share, and I do hope once again you had a fantastic Easter break.
Mm-hmm.
So, who would like to share a little closing statement?
We can start off with Azzy.
Well, the hygiene one, it was like obviously it's common sense. Like you should shower beforehand. Clean yourself. You know, but but that but that woke thing, those two woke stuff that we talked about, it's
Mhm.
like it just proves how just ridiculous everything is nowadays. It's it kind of leaves you know speechless a little bit because it's just like it just uh,
I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
it's just this is a kind of topic. These are the kind of topics that just make you speechless and just you say a little about it, but it's like you just can't win in an argument against anyone who has these like ideas and stuff. It's like it's
Mhm.
it's it's like in any irrational thought. I'm quoting this thing from Billy Madison. What they just said in in those in those paragraphs is one of the most idiotic things I've ever heard, and at no point would be considered an irrational thought.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
Everybody, including the audience who listens to this stuff, is now dumber having listened to it. So therefore, we should reward them no points and may God have mercy on their souls.
All right. Noble.
Look, the whole Pokemon thing really has me sort of pissed off. It's at this point where I'm watching the franchise die, and it's going to really raise a question for me whether or not people are just going to get pissed off and stop using the game, and then they're going to freak out and try to reverse the decision, or if they're just going to completely go into it and bury the, upset Japan. Because I'm pretty sure the Pokemon company ain't going to be liking this shit.
No, because again they were doing this in the office in the state of Washington, where Seattle is. So again, it's the damned Westerners.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Well, I guess for my closing statement, I just want to wish everyone who celebrates a very happy Easter, and God bless you. I hope you were able to spend this time with your family and reflect upon, everything going on this year so far. I will say that I think it's rather silly that even now in 2024, after we've had these several years of experiments, that companies are still trying to go woke and try to transform their video game characters into something that the target audience really just doesn't want. Eventually, one day, they're going to have to turn around and be like, hey, you know what? Let's just go back to basics. You know what? Sex sells. We know this. Let's just stop with the politically woke agendas and just go back to basics, all right? I think that will be very beneficial to companies that actually care about both video games and their audience. Secondary thing would be, if you're going to events, like whether it be meetups, conventions, tournaments, what have you, make sure you're presentable. I mean, come on, please do that. Don't make it bad for the rest of us. Don't continue that stereotype of everyone's freaking gross, because we're not. Just do some of the basics, all right? That's pretty much where I'm at on that. And aside from that, I will say, Jolt, you had some incredible adventures, and you freaking nailed it, buddy. One day, I'd love to hang out with you and go on one of those adventures too. But in conclusion, I hope everyone had a awesome weekend, and I can't wait to see you next week. God bless.
Oh, yeah. God bless you.
Mm-hmm. Likewise, and thank you all. Thank you, especially. I do these. I do these because I want to, to inspire, to make, to get furries to be aspired to explore that there's a world bigger than the walls of of a furry convention or a small fur meet.
Mhm.
And that the whole world is out there waiting for you to explore. So get out there, take a few risks. Your fursuit is not made of glass.
Unless if it's fiberglass.
And even then, fiberglass is still strong, because I know fursuits have synthetic materials. But really, though, like I said, to conclude, though, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this as much as we did the show. As always, you can find our episodes on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Player FM, iHeartRadio, BitChute, and more further down the line. Whew. Well, that's quite a bit to get through, though. So, from us to you, farewell until next time.
Bye.
Good night.
Peace.